Morning.
Oh my goodness. Good morning. This is a fake start because we had to start and then we had to stop, but now we're starting again.
Let's start again.
Okay, you wanted to ask me an awkward question and then I interrupted you
No,
because
I
there
thought
was
it'd
an
be a
echo.
great
But now here we
cheese.
are.
It'd be a great cheesy
Oh,
start
cheesy.
podcast. Cheesy, which is what's your favorite talking dog? So there's many talking dogs out there. I know at one point as a kid
Oh,
you were big into Clifford, the animated Clifford series. I don't know if you remember
yeah.
that, but
Oh,
Clifford the big red dog.
I do, but I would say Wishbone. I would probably
Oh,
say Wishbone is the best.
you were
Yeah,
hardcore Wishbone fan. That is so true.
hardcore.
I was.
What about you?
I gotta go. I gotta go more recent. I want to be Bandit Healer when I grow up. So that's Bluey's dad.
Who's that? Oh my gosh, of course. Bluey,
So
yeah.
Bandit,
I thought
he's my hero.
I thought you were gonna say the talking dog from, the new Superman movie,
Oh,
which I have not yet seen, but we've been watching a lot of, like, YouTube videos about it, and turns out that dog is actually AI, which is a great segue into
yeah.
today's
Dogs,
conversation,
AI. That's right. So let's jump in.
tying all the pieces together. AI, Superman,
There you go.
dog.
Let's
Yeah.
read it and we'll discuss. So the title
Okay.
today is The Talking Dog. First mistake. If you meet a talking dog in the street and it makes a few grammatical errors or speaks with an accent, you don't use a few errors to dismiss the fact that this is an actual talking dog. It's amazing. It might even be worth having it join your team. Second mistake. If a talking dog tells you something, that doesn't mean it's true. Check the work. Even if your dog's name is Claude. Or, side note, this is Daniel. I listen to this one podcaster, Greg Eisenberg. I love, he's so great. Startup ideas kind of guy. He says cloud every single time. Like, I think he's French Canadian, so I think he's trying to be French about it. But it's so funny. And he
Oh.
acknowledges, or Claude, he says Claude. But he acknowledges that he's like, I know people all know make fun of me, but I say Claude, and he's so consistent. But it's like, isn't it Claude? Like, don't we also say? Anyway, okay, back to Seth. Back to Seth.
Yeah, back to Seth. And we don't have to read this whole bottom part,
No,
but
it's great.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I gotcha. Um, so talking dog, check the work. What
Yeah.
should we do now as creatives, freelancers, and impresarios? There's a word. Gaze at the
Mhm.
incoming AI revolution. It's tempting to turn away and get back to work. But what if this is the work? There are plenty of caveats that come with the talking dogs of AI. Not just the hallucinations or the dislocations. There are issues of climate or of control and of access. But in all the past technology revolutions we've faced, highlighting the problems and walking away is probably not the best way to have influence or impact. Just because candidates have flaws doesn't mean you shouldn't vote. He's Seth is launching a new short new Udemy course and how he's thinking about AI. So you should definitely visit his blog. Click on the link if that's interesting to you for sure. He says this is the biggest shift in our world since the invention of electricity, and you're either going to work for an AI or an AI is going to work for you. Only one of these is a good option. So yeah, he's also giving a discount. And I always want to, as we do this, I just always want to honor Seth that he's doing a thing. So go visit the blog, check it out if it's interesting. He's running a sale on that Udemy course. But a few things stood out to me, and I love that this morning you were like, I don't know about this
Yeah.
blog because I'm like, I love this because I find myself, Holly, talking to a lot of practitioners in a nonprofit. So I usually am in the nonprofit space right now, and leaders about how to think about AI. And been interesting how many of them are reluctant to adopt AI tools or scared, or because your work may have repercussions around like, you know, proprietary knowledge or IP or doing like nonprofit work in a sensitive area. Yeah, there's plenty of reasons to use caution, and you should. But just the sheer like rejection of a thing, and it's so interesting. So I love this analogy because to go with the talking dog piece, uh, it's like you would say the talking dog if you've met a real talking dog that you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, like, and but it's still a dog. And that you should also like acknowledge that it's a dog and not a human, and so like you should check the work. Like I think it's a very kind of extreme example, but it's a really great example because the same is true with AI, right? He's making this analogy. So the phrase that I think I hone in on is like you're either going to work for an AI or an AI is going to work for you.
Yeah.
And that conversation about, and I'll hear people for a long time. We talked about the internet's the biggest thing since the printing press. For like 25 years, we've been referring back to Gutenberg and the printing press. And I've heard with AI, a lot of people use that electricity example, and I think that's interesting. It's interesting that they've kind of jumped to that. But I think it's worth saying, in case you haven't heard the thousands of AI conversations about this is the most significant human leap since, and then they choose their favorite thing: electricity, printing press, internet. For people to say like since the internet, or since the iPhone, which is another like massive moment. But regardless of which one you choose, it's like it's true. The hype seems to be real with this one, and if I'm honest, I'm really excited about it. But there is like there's an unknown to what jobs are going to look like and what knowledge work is going to look like, or how many jobs that we have when one person can do the job of many as fast as this, like what that will look like. And so like there's plenty of unknowns, which is I guess exciting and scary at the same time. I have one last little analogy that the way I've been talking about it, and then I'll hand it off to you. But because we all know the Marvel movies pretty well at this point, I've tried to look at it like AI is not, it's not our brain, but we can be like Tony Stark, who has his independent thought. He's a super intellectual and smart guy on his own, but when he built the Iron Man suit, that allowed him to take all of those things that were about him, the skills, the knowledge, the experience, those unique Tony Stark things, and extend them. I mean, he was able to now, a mere man, a mere mortal giving a punch compared to the Iron Man suit, like that's exponentially more powerful. Or the ability to fly, or the ability to look at a thing and scan it and have that data presented to you faster in a deeper, at a depth that you don't have with your own brain. Like all of the examples over all those dozens of movies, of how the Iron Man suit extended what was already there and available to the man inside the suit. That's how I've tried to express like a simple analogy for like you are being given access to an Iron Man suit, and it's those of us who agreed that like, wow, I can be the man in the suit, and now I can be called to greater action, and I can be called to more and powerful things. Where if you're deciding and to use his influence and impact, if you're deciding to sit on the sidelines and not engage with these tools, then really you're just deciding to, when the Avengers assemble, to be the smart guy on the ground that can only run as fast as he was able to before. So I don't know. I'm also guilty of trying to analogize things. So I'll stop there. But
Yeah, it's like it's an amazing tool and resource. Why would you not choose to put it in your tool belt? Because otherwise you're just going to be left behind, and resisting it is just putting you far behind, especially for isn't it interesting that nonprofits tend to have the greatest causes yet are often the most behind because they're change resistant, which is such an interesting thing. It's like they're innovative in the cause that they're trying to tackle, but change resistant to innovation, which is a fascinating. That's probably a topic for another day.
that's an entire podcast, but like,
Serious.
so my wife also is in the nonprofit space, and we've had many conversations about leaders that we've served under that took great risk, like really significant risk to their life, to their finances, to take a leap and start something, to start a business, to start and be a part of the beginning of a nonprofit. And then over time, watch as that spark of risk and that like no fear and take on the world becomes protect, becomes like build up those concrete walls. It just like it's like you become more concerned with protection instead of taking ground. And that's I mean, it's fascinating. And here we are in a moment of like you're able to take bigger risks for lower cost, and still there's resistance.
That is called the founder's dilemma. And I would love to start a whole. I actually have been thinking about starting my like Ready Network podcast. I'm still kind of figuring out what it's going to be. And I think it's going to be like interviewing founders on this issue because there comes a point for every founder. You're exactly right. They put it all on the table, duct tape and paper clips. And then there comes a point, and it's different for every founder, where they feel like in order to take it to the next level, they have to risk everything that they've built. And so they go from an abundance to a scarcity mindset. And
Mm-hmm.
it's exactly what you said, protection, self protection, rather than innovation. So
Yeah.
that I'm very passionate about that topic because I've seen it time and again. And as a founder now, I'm trying to pay a lot of attention to that because I
Yeah.
see myself even daily go in and out of that. So, but back to AI.
No, no, it's great. I mean, you're exactly right. A lot of people have discussed in the open AI era. Um, a lot of people have talked about how this. Everybody says ChatGPT all over the place. We don't really know what GPT means, but that's a technology. I'm saying this as a common person. Like, I know some people listening are like, I know what it means. But this idea, this transformer, that was a Google invention. So that GPT, like Google invented that, and then and then the founder's dilemma happened, which was, well, we're making so much money in this way. Is it worth the risk, and is it worth the unknowns? And so they chose to like their discernment was to play the conservative game, and then you basically had open AI come in and like a wrecking ball and just
You're the last person I would ever think to sing Miley Cyrus
well,
on a
Dustin
podcast.
Kinsrew covered it once, and I was like, ah, it changed the whole. It was like,
Okay, that's
okay,
what happened.
I get this now.
Oh.
So there you go. Shout out Dustin Kinsrew. Check out his Wrecking Ball cover. It's insane. But yeah, so and Google's been basically kind of been playing catch up for a couple of years now in this AI moment. But yeah, everybody referenced the founder's dilemma that Google faced, and some would arguably say they didn't choose the right path or whatever to be the leader at that moment.
And that's so common with innovation and disruption, right? It's like, the taxi unions probably should have been the ones to create Uber, and Hilton and Marriott should have been the ones to create Airbnb. And, you see that over and over again.
But what an
Um,
opportunity, right, for those that are ready for the moment.
yeah. I also feel like what my takeaway from this one was I'm reminded of there's a professor and entrepreneur here in Houston named Kathleen Purley who wrote a book called AI Made Simple, or AI Made Simple, yeah, for business. Oh my gosh, I'm like um, forgetting the exact title, but anyway, and Marie Meyer, who is the CFO at HPE, Hewlett Packard Enterprise, and their whole thing is like kind of what you said, Daniel. It's, you know, first of all, it's important to know the difference between automation and AI. So, like, AI has been around through different forms of automation and mainly massive companies for a long time. So, one, to know that like it's already been there, kind of like the internet, right? Before it was like there was already this thing called an intranet, and internet kind of already existed, but in a closed environment. And it was just when it was taken to the masses. And that's what's happened. That's what OpenAI did for AI and automation, right?
Mm.
Um, and so I think that's the first thing when people have a scarcity mindset to know that, like, this is not brand new. Yes, it's brand new to the masses. Um, and and then secondly, just to figure out how to contextualize or embrace it for yourself in order to make sure you're not left behind. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Engage with it though. I think is would be an encouragement, whatever that looks like for you, the listener. Engage with it and like acknowledge the wonder in the moment. There's nothing like this that's ever existed in the world, which is wild, which is incredible. But also that
yeah.
like we should approach it with discernment and like be careful, not with fear, but like with any new tool. You wouldn't give, I don't know, again, I'm trying out with the analogies. You wouldn't give a child a chainsaw. Like, I don't know, whatever the right analogy is, like use discernment. But like we get to be a part of shaping the new world with new tools. Like it's exciting.
It is very
You
exciting.
know, I could go on and on about AI. So let's talk about how people should go to
Yeah.
sethsaidwhat.com. Let us know
Yeah.
what you
Mhm.
think about AI and like
How
do
you're
you
using it or not using it.
yeah or like is it interesting? Would it be interesting if Holly and I, who have been playing in this space for a little while, if you'd like for us to share like as a part of this when relevant, like share little tools and tips, or if you're like no, just stick to Seth. Like what would you think about that kind of thing? I'd be curious.
Yeah. Would love to hear that. SethSaidWhat.com. Seth said what?
What?
All right, brother. You have a good day, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, later.
Okay. Bye.